Hey writers, it is so good to see you again. You are in the editing stage of the writing process, which is what this unit is all about. You have done some pre-writing, you thought of ideas, you did some drafting, you got all of those ideas out onto paper, you went back to your draft, you reread it, and you did some revising, and now you are just almost ready to complete your piece and have it ready for publishing. But there's a few steps that we need to take before it's completely ready. And one of those steps in editing is checking punctuation. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. When we talk about making sure that your writing has punctuation, these are the kinds of things we're looking for. Exclamation points, question marks, periods, commas, and quotation marks. Now, as I'm sure you know, exclamation points, question marks, and periods come at the end of a sentence. And every sentence needs a punctuation at the end of it. This is like level 1 stuff. A published piece always has to have, every sentence needs punctuation, okay? Okay. The commas and the quotation marks come within the sentences. Commas are used for a variety of reasons, sometimes to break up a sentence. Sometimes we use it to properly punctuate a dialogue. Sometimes we use it for when we have something in a series. More lessons on those will come later in the year. But you should know some basic uses on how to use the commas. And then the last thing is the quotation marks, which should be used around dialogue. So if people are speaking, if characters are speaking, then you will need quotation marks to identify when characters are speaking. So now that you have a general overview of the types of punctuation marks that are expected in 3rd grade, I want to give you some tips on how to do some editing for punctuation. Editing is when we go back and look through our piece and check for these things. So you can kind of imagine that you have your piece, you've drafted it, you've revised it, and you've read it so many times. But when you're reading it for punctuation, it's like you're putting on a different lens. Like you're using a magnifying glass and you're only looking for the punctuation, okay? Like you have this laser focus and you're thinking, this time I'm gonna read it, but I'm only gonna focus on the punctuation. So my suggestion to you is simply read it out loud. Read it slowly. And as you're reading, make sure you're only focusing on periods, exclamation marks, question marks, commas, and quotation marks. You should read it one time with only that focus on the punctuation in order to find any mistakes or fix up anything that maybe you've missed it or maybe you have some extras you need to take out. When you're focusing on only the punctuation and not the spelling and the word choice and all these different things, that'll get so confusing. Edit for punctuation by looking only at the punctuation. I am just about ready to let you go and start that independent work and do some editing for punctuation. But before you start, I just want to remind you that if you ever have a question about how the punctuation works, or if you have a sentence and you're not sure if it should be a question mark or a period, or you're not exactly sure where to put the quotation marks, the one-on-one conferences that you have with me or Miss J or really any teacher is the time when you can ask those specific questions. If you notice something and you're not exactly sure how to punctuate it, circle it on your draft, on your revised draft, and then when you meet with your teacher, say, hey, I had a question about this. It just doesn't feel right. I'm not sure it's correct. Can you guide me on this? That is what we're here for, and that is what's going to improve your writing. So give that a try. Have a great day. Enjoy your independent work, and I will see you soon.